Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and this one should be interesting. This is a version 1 PlayStation 4 controller. Can you see the difference? This is version 2. It's got grey buttons and grey sticks. This has got black buttons and black sticks. Yeah, can you just see the difference there? And also the light bar. They both have a light bar here, but with this one you can view it through the touchpad here. You can't view it through the touchpad here, so there is slight differences. So this one's got an interesting fault. When I plug it into the PlayStation, it does absolutely nothing. When I plug it into my little laptop, it comes up with USB not recognised, no charging light comes on, and more interestingly, it gets very, very, very hot. So I left it plugged in for about 5 minutes, thinking it might just need to battery charging up a bit. When I felt it, I was like, whoa. You know, that was really, really warm. So I'm hoping there's going to be some interesting short in that. I'm really looking forward to doing this one. Hoping it's going to be an interesting one. So it's weird, with the Xbox ones that I did, every one had interesting faults because the person before just put a load of junk together. But with these ones, I mean, they've been a dream buy, but not for YouTube videos. They've been quite boring. There you go. USB device not recognised. Yep. And see how long it takes to get. Well, do you know what? Let's not see how long it takes to get hot. You just have to take my word for it that it did get hot. So let's take it apart, and it might become obvious when we have it apart what's wrong with it. Wow. Oh, that's quite nicely chewed up, that ribbon cable, isn't it? Really chewed up. It's bent everywhere. Right, let's take this one out gently. It might still work. Wow, okay. Right, so let's see what's happening here. So the battery connector's broken there, so that says that maybe it's been dropped. Do you know what? I didn't see if it turns on without the USB connected. See if it lights up. No, but then again, you would expect the battery to be completely flat by now anyway. CUHZCT1U. I'm just going to unsolder the wires. They're in the same orientation as the last one. Right, so these are just a pressure fit here and here. Can you see these two ribbon cables? It's amazing it works so well against here and here. Let's see if I can see anything obvious with this now. No, I can't see anything obvious. I mean, there's no chip here, but I presume it's supposed to be like that. Well, what shall I do? Let's plug in the back, and by just plugging in the back, it should recognise it on my computer, shouldn't it? I'm just waiting for my computer to boot up. But have a look at this battery. There's nothing in it whatsoever. It's weird. Do you think there'd be something in there, wouldn't you? See what happens if I plug it in now. Ah, so it recognises it. Right, so it recognises it now as a wireless controller. So there's something causing it to short, so it's either going to be the battery or something on this up here. So I suppose now what we'll do is, let's plug in, I'll tell you what, let's plug in the battery. So I'm going to unplug that, let's plug in the battery, and see what happens. Could the battery be faulty? I mean, it was getting extremely hot. No, it's still recognising it. Yeah, look. So I won't bother zooming in, but you can see from the analogue stick there that it's being recognised. Right, okay, so it's not the battery and it's not that. I wonder, was it the way this was all scrunched up? Doesn't look like it. So now let's plug the front back in and let's see what's happening on that. Well, actually, we might as well do it in stages. So I can plug this in and then I can do the touch screen, and then that will eliminate more bit by bit. Yeah, that's working. Yeah, I can see those buttons lighting up. So yeah, look. Yeah, ignore the fact that that's probably because it's not back together properly. Right, okay, so that appears to be okay. I'm wondering now, should I have just pressed reset? Because there's a reset button on the very back here. I wonder whether it just needed a reset. Can you see just here? This is a fault with the touch thing up here. Ah, interesting. Look, it's come up with USB device not recognised when I plugged that front section in, so it must be something wrong with the front section. Let's try that again. Right, so watch this bottom corner here. There you go, USB device not recognised. So, it looks like it's a faulty touchpad at the front, unless there's something else up the front as well. So let's disconnect this again. I love it when I see a fault rather than things that are just intermittent. So we've got a problem on this ribbon cable going up here. So let's take this out. Let's take this out completely. So it's something on here which is causing the problem. So let's just verify that. Just want to see if it's going to work without the battery. Yeah, there we go. USB device not recognised. That's fantastic. I'm so happy about that. So now let's have a look at this front part and let's see what's happening with it. See if we can work out why it's not working. So let's zoom right in. So we've got a little plastic cover. Now how do you take that out? Oh, there you go, just little clips at the side here. Right, so that's that. Okay, we've got a nice little bend there, and look, it's partially out. Could that be it? The fact it's just partially out. And there's a hair. I mean, it's not a fibre, it's definitely a hair. I can see the root on the end of it. Okay, let's pop this out. So we've got a little sticky tab there. Let's just check for continuity between here and here. So it's interesting that that's actually knocked it out completely. But I felt terrific heat on it earlier. That's okay. That's okay. That is definitely okay. So, what's causing it? Unless, was it the fact that it wasn't just seated properly? Let's pop it in again. And let's see if it was the fact that it was done at an angle. Remember, this thing does look like it was dropped, so maybe it kind of shook a bit and just put it slightly out, I don't know. It says USB device not recognised. So now I'm going to unplug this again. I'll tell you what, let's unplug it from this side. Oh, just felt it getting very hot. Something burning in here. Right, brilliant. I'll tell you what, let's straight away get some IPA on that, and let's zoom in and see exactly. Hold on. Yes, I can feel something getting hot. Ah, this is good, I like this. Now let's get some IPA on that quickly, and let's see what's burning off. That since I've started, I've nearly gone through my litre bottle. I've only got a dribble left in it now. Right, let's see. I can hear it. Let's zoom right in. Okay, so let's go over these ones here. Right, so it's coming from this area here. Let's go over here. It might be these capacitors. Do you know what? Let's get my microscope set up, because then we can zoom right in and see. Right, so here we are, zoomed right in. Now let's plug it in again. This has by far been the most interesting fault on this job lot here. Oops, right, here we go. Let's see where it's burning off. Is it that first capacitor there? That first one on the right? Can't tell. I'm going to pour loads on. Yeah, I've flooded it. It's that one there, isn't it? Look, can you see it? Just straight away goes off. Look, as soon as I cover it. It looks like it's going the chip. It looks like the chip's doing it, but it's not. It's this capacitor on the right-hand side. So I presume that must be completely short into ground. So let's unplug again. There we go. In fact, you know what? We should see as soon as we plug it in, because it's hard to tell now because the power's there. Right, so can you see it's kind of glistening on top? Now let's plug it in. There you go. Can you see straight away? Right, let's get that board. Well, first of all, let's check it for if it's short into ground. And then let's get the board out. It could, in theory, be something on the other side of that. So, do you know what? Should we just go here for a minute? Right, so now what would be a ground? Would this be a ground here? Let's go to this one here, see. No. Right, hopefully that might, that be a ground? No, maybe not. It might be just on the same track. Where would the ground be here, I wonder? We're saying that both the well, maybe not, but I'm thinking one of the capacitors might have a, should we just see if it's shorting? No. No, I wonder maybe if the capacitor's okay, but there's something on the chip causing this to short. I can't see now with all this flux on, with all this IPA on, where it's going. Let's just strip some of that off. Right, so we know it's this capacitor here, see if we can follow the track. So, would this all down here be ground? It looks quite big, doesn't it? So would the bottom here be ground? And the top goes to that one, and it goes around here to this pad. Down here, down here. Where's it go from there? It's kind of hard to tell because of all the writing. Thinking it goes to pin 1 here. We can do it from here for a minute. Let's just see if we can get this board out. I'm just wondering if there's anything on the other side of that board. I wonder if this is glued in. Yeah, I think it's glued in. It's doing a lot of bending. There we go. Right, well, it doesn't look water damaged, does it? That's just the sticky tape there. Let's dry it up. Apologies, when I was doing the tracing before I thought it was pointing at the microscope, but it's not. Right, so let me point at the microscope so you can see what's happening. So I'm thinking it's something to do with this capacitor here. And if you have a look, can you see that this side here is all connected together? So this is the one that's burning off straight away. But then it looks like, so I'm wondering, is this to ground? That goes to that pin there. And then this one up here looks like it goes to that one, then onto that pin there. So I wonder if we've got a short between this one and here. I wonder if this chip is faulty. And then what's happening is this is taking the full brunt of it. I'm not sure. Let's do a continuity test just between these two pins if we can. So let's just double check. Is that going to the bottom? Yeah, but it's not going to there, so it's not short into there. So these are not... Hold on. So that's not short into ground, so that goes round. So let's follow it round. It goes round here to this pad here. So let's make sure that this is going to here. Yep. Now, do you know what? I'm stuck because of the sticky tape, so it goes down here. Goes around here. I'm just going to test these pads as I go along. Okay, so then it goes to test point here, this one. This is test point number 1. Then from here it goes up to the second pin, I think. The second pin. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a fault with this board. It goes to the second pin, and then on the hold on now. Then on the ribbon cable, it might not be a problem with this board whatsoever. I wonder whether that's the same board for the other ones. You know, could I take one out of a version 2? So it goes on the second pin, which must come up on... I presume it's going to come up here. Second pin here, I reckon. Then that goes through the wire. So I need to double check it is coming up there. So let's just connect this up again. Let's go down there for a second. See, I know when we I'm thinking now, is it the board or not? Because when we unplug this, the fault goes away, but maybe by plugging this in, it's kind of making the circuit, which is then pushing the fault back onto here, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Right, let me just see if I've got continuity between pin, was it test pin 1 here, and here. Yes, I have. Right, so now we can just follow it from this part on the board here. So let's go back to the microscope. So we said it goes through a via, so then we need to take this board off and see what's on the other side there. I think it's easy if I show you here. So basically it goes from there to that little via here, and then it comes up, I believe, on this one here, which is quite a thick one. It goes into the chip here, and then I lose it as it goes round this way here. So I think rather than getting too involved there, I think what we need to do is, I think we need to maybe take one out off a working PlayStation 4 controller. Like I said, I haven't got version 1, but maybe they have the same touchpad. So that's what I need to double check, and then I can plug it into here. And obviously, if the fault's still there on the other one, I know it's not this. If the fault's gone, I know it definitely is this, and I can concentrate all my efforts on this one here. Right, so I've got one out of version 2. It's got the same amount of pins on it. I don't know if it's the same or not, but let's give it a go. Right, so I'm about to plug it in. Ah, it's recognised. Yeah, okay, so let's just see if you can see that little... Can you see the last button lighting up? No, you can't. Let's just do the analog sticks there. Right, so 100% it's a fault on the front plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unplug this now while it's on. There we go, yeah. And it says your game controller is not, yeah, USB not recognised. So 100% now, without a doubt, it's definitely that front plate. So now let's look into that deeper and see what's going on. Right, okay, so just for reference, the first pin on this thing here is definitely ground. So the fault's coming up on the second pin, isn't it, as far as that capacitor? But the first pin's definitely ground, because if you have a look on the first pin here, you can see that it's grounding to this here, and also to the negative of the battery. Right, so we can just look at this very closely now. Right, now unfortunately the version 2 is a completely different board with a different chip as well. The chip is basically got 11 pins on either side. Everything's just a lot more, I don't know. I mean, there's not much to it really, is it? But it's a completely different layout, different chip, different markings on it. But now, remember I said it's not shown as short. So for example, we know that pin 1 is the ground, and if I go onto the bottom of the capacitors, it's short in but not on the top. Okay, but saying that, although it's not shown as short, look at the reading we're getting. So let's just go to normal ohms. Now if I go just straight across this capacitor here, we're getting a reading of 81 ohms, and so that will be the same as if I go across pins 1 and 2. I just want to make sure I'm definitely not on anything else. There you go, that's perfect, 1 and 2, look, 81 ohms. Now look, between 1 and 2 on here, and we know that this one works on R1, we're saying that it doesn't cause the fault. We don't actually know if it works, do we? Because I didn't plug it onto the PlayStation to make sure you can actually use it like a mouse. Because this is a little touchpad in here. Not only can you click it in, it's a touchpad, but the click in is just from where it hits. You see this button? Yes, this one here, isn't it? Yeah. So it's where it hits that button in, so that's not relevant. So basically all this is like a touchpad. But if I go across the pins 1 and 2 here, can you see we're getting a reading, oops, which much more resistance. So in other words, on this faulty board it's almost a short, but this is 3.7 mega ohms or meg ohms. Do you know what? Let's get some hot air on this. Let's first of all take off the capacitor, just in case it is a faulty capacitor, because that is the thing that's heating up. I'm thinking it's probably going to be more to do with the chip itself, but let's just do that to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to take out the ribbon cable, otherwise that's just going to get melted on me. Now let's get a tiny bit of flux and pop off that capacitor. Right, I'm going to set my air very low for this because it's the board's tiny. So I'm just going to go to 350. And I'm going to set my airflow just to 2 out of 8, I think, because this is so thin. I'm hoping it's just going to come off real easy. Right, so I'm just going to test the pads now, just to see what ohms it's testing now. I'm not sure, it's climbing, 183, let me zoom out a bit. I'm just going to put this capacitor safely to one side. Oh no, hold on, that is testing okay. Let's go between pin 1 and 2. Right, okay. So, does that say that the capacitor itself is faulty? Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Let's see if we can get a reading on it. It's going to be very hard. This is so small. Excellent, look. 86 ohms. So it's the capacitor that's faulty, isn't it? Okay. 86 ohms. So, although it's not a direct short, that doesn't look right. So now, how would I know what I need to replace that with? Do you know what? I did buy some S&D capacitors, but they haven't come in yet. How would I know what that one is? See, this is where I don't know, do I? Because unless you've got the schematics of it, you're not going to know. And I haven't got another one just to swap over. But I'm pretty sure that is going to be the problem. Do you know what? I could put it back together, couldn't I? Just to see. So I'm going to put this in a carrier bag so I don't lose it. Sorry, a sealable bag. But I could put it back together. Maybe only certain functions will not work and not the whole thing. Maybe there will be some kind of life to it. And then we definitely know it is the capacitor. But to me, that capacitor, that's acting more like a resistor, isn't it? So if this is probably going to be too small for my ESR meter, but yeah, see, it's tiny. I've got a component tester. Shall I pop it on that just to see what it does? Well, I'm really sorry, but I got my component tester out, and then I placed it on here in between these pads, because I can't put, these are for through hole here, but can you see here between 1 and 2? But it was so small, without me pressing down on it, it just said no unknown or damaged parts. So I put a tiny bit of pressure on, hoping it would make the contact, and it flinged off, and I can't find where it's gone to. It's absolutely tiny. You can't really, I can't explain how small it is, because when you're zoomed in, it looks big. But we're talking about that tiny little capacitor just there, and look at it compared to my finger. So it really is very, very small, so I won't have a hope in finding that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put it back together, just in case that's not particularly important. I mean, I don't know, I know they can, like, you can use them for filtering out, I think for smoothing out signals. So maybe it won't be as smooth, or it might be jittery, or it might not work whatsoever. I really don't know, but it definitely is another capacitor let me just look for my eye loop, that's in parallel with it. So I'm thinking, why did they put two capacitors in? Let me just double check that. Why did they put two in? Why didn't they just put one in off a higher capacitance? Right, so that goes to there. And the top one goes to there. So they're definitely in parallel with each other. So you know what, mate, I might actually get away with that. Right, let's pop it back together and see if it works. Right, okay, all the buttons work, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to work. But let me just quickly zoom in. I mean, to be fair, if that doesn't work, I mean, I'm trying to think if I use, apart from entering in inputs, like your name or whatever you use now, I don't know if I've actually used that. No, I think Horizon Zero Dawn uses that, doesn't it? Yeah, it's hard to see, but when you press the buttons, basically they line up down here. Well, let's quickly connect this up to the PlayStation, and let's just see if I can enter in any, you know, for example, a web browser. Just enter in a name up here to see if it is working at all or not. Right, okay, so we've got it plugged into there, and check this out. I've just gone onto a web browser up here, and if you look at this, watch this, it's working. Can you see? Moving it around here. So let's say if I wanted to go to my base mate, any ideas what I'm going to put in? My mate Vince. Look at that, it's working. What's that? My mate Vince knows nothing about electronics. My mate Vince is an idiot. Oh, dearie me. Unbelievable. Right, okay, so what a nice little fix. Do you know what? I'm not going to worry about getting a replacement capacitor for that. If you know the reason there's two of them in parallel rather than just one, you know, bigger capacitor, let me know. If you think it's really important that I need to replace that, if you've got any ideas what, for example, microfarad it could be, then let me know, because I can always pop one in. Basically, I've ordered a load of SMD ones from China, I think it is, and I've got them in the different packages. You know, I can't remember what it was, like 0605 and 0405. I can't remember what it was, but those ones were tiny. I'm not sure if I've got them that small or not. I don't really understand any of this. I have been advised to get myself an SMD ruler, and that's basically a ruler with loads of little pictures, essentially like a template of what the different sizes are, so then when you take something off a board you can put it on the ruler and then you know what package it is for you to order up another one. But that's really good. Now, battery, as you've seen, was completely flat. Let's see if there's anything in it at all. Excellent. Okay, look, there you go. Right, battery level low, it said, but that's fine. Okay, so it's cut out, but the very fact that it stayed on for a split second makes me think that once that's charged, that will be okay, and that looks like the original PlayStation battery as well. It doesn't look like an aftermarket one. So all I have to do with this one is give it a nice good clean, but as far as I'm concerned, that is working okay. Let's just see if motion controls are working. Yeah, there we go. They're working as well. Wow. So that's two fixes. So out of that, that's the end of it basically. That's the whole job lot done. So out of everything, the only thing from memory that I've had to buy is that ribbon cable, and that was £1.75 for 3 of them. I did actually buy 2 batteries for the part 2, but it turns out that I didn't actually need them, because it just needed, those ones just needed a kickstart, you know, using that little, I think it was the little board from memory that I plugged in, the TP, I can't even remember what it is now, but yeah, so that's revived. So I have actually got 2 spare batteries. So do you know what, I might look for some more faulty PlayStation controllers, because for me, The only interesting part of that was the end of part 3, so I loved fault finding that one there, using the IPA and the heat and stuff like that, seeing it burn off. So hopefully you guys did too. Hopefully I'll do more interesting ones in the future. I'll have a look on eBay and see different ones with different faults. But if you got any enjoyment from it, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more Trying to Fix videos. Take care. Bye now.